There is absolutely zero doubt in my mind. Rachel Meghan Markle was a semi-expensive yacht girl, and she knows it.
Many of you have seen this picture already. You see that there's Meghan with her Cajuna hat.
When Sarah Ferguson opened her mouth, this time, the royal world froze. What she said wasn't gossip, it was dynamite.
Everything happened because of Fergie. Meghan Markle was introduced by Sarah Ferguson to Prince Harry.
It all started quietly, a casual conversation, a familiar smirk from Fergie, until one reporter caught the words that changed everything. Meghan was Andrew's first client.
He said Miss Markle was a close companion to Prince Andrew.
Instantly, headlines erupted. Social media went feral. Within hours, the phrase Meghan's yacht days trended worldwide. But here's the part no one saw coming. This wasn't just a rumor from the shadows.
Meghan Markle was introduced through Marcus Anderson to Sarah Ferguson.
Sarah Ferguson, the Duchess who's been silenced, shunned, and somehow always finds her way back, is making waves again. This time, her words carry a darker edge, one that even the palace can't ignore. Behind the Golden Gates, whispers say Prince Harry was stunned, unsure what to believe. The Palisades? Scrambling, terrified that old wounds were about to reopen. That legendary wall of royal silence, the one that's protected secrets for decades, has started to crack. But what exactly did Fergie mean by calling someone her first client? And why now, after all these years, would she dare to speak? Could there be a thread that links Meghan Markle, the Hollywood starlet turned Duchess, to the very same circles that once surrounded Prince Andrew? Because if that's true, then what we're seeing isn't just another royal headline. It's a glimpse into a past the palace hoped we'd never uncover.
According to people, she got started her yachting days and she never stopped really. I don't think any of her boyfriends knew about it, but Meghan Markle was known as a hardcore yacht partying person, ready for anything.
This isn't just another royal scandal. It's a storm threatening to tear open the monarchy's oldest scars. The kind of story that forces everyone, from courtiers to commentators, to lower their voices and glance over their shoulders before they speak. And now, as more names emerge and long-buried secrets begin to stir, one haunting question echoes through the corridors of Windsor. Did Fergie simply slip up and tell the truth, or did she light the match on purpose, knowing exactly what would happen next? Because whatever her intention was, the moment those words left her lips, the fuse was lit. And what followed, not even the palace's most seasoned protectors were prepared to face.
She was a yacht girl, that's right. It's mentioned in the book. Meghan used to entertain as a yacht girl. Now, I'm not saying it's true, I'm not saying it happened, but I am saying Harry knows it.
It started like any ordinary weekend in the royal circle. Charity luncheons draped in elegance, smiles that looked genuine from a distance, and the kind of rehearsed charm only royals can master. But beneath all that polished grace, something uneasy was brewing. Whispers began to drift, quiet mentions of a moment Sarah Ferguson might have let slip. At first, few believed it. After all, Fergie had survived more scandals than most royals combined. She knew exactly how one misplaced word could send headlines spinning. But this time, she didn't seem to care. At a private Mayfair gathering, a blend of old money, royal watchers, and seasoned reporters, she reportedly said something that froze the room. People forget, Fergie murmured with that mischievous grin she's famous for. Meghan's first royal connection wasn't Harry. The laughter that followed was thin, uncertain, the kind that hides discomfort. But as her words sank in, the air changed. It wasn't a joke. And everyone there knew it.
And I wonder if Prince Andrew's going to come out and say, hey, Harry, I did your wife quite a few times on yachts before you got her.
Those words spread faster than champagne could be poured at any royal reception. Within hours, phones were lighting up, messages flying through the palace corridors, filled with disbelief and dread. The phrase Andrew's first client started popping up everywhere, whispered in private chats, typed in newsroom drafts, then exploding across social media before anyone could contain it. Inside the palace, Harry was reportedly shaken. He'd heard the whispers before, every royal had, but this time was different. This wasn't some faceless tabloid rumor. It came from inside the family, from someone who had once known Prince Andrew better than anyone still breathing. What could have been dismissed as idle gossip suddenly became a credibility crisis. By nightfall, royal correspondents were quietly piecing together timelines, tracing Meghan's Hollywood connections back to the kind of high-society yacht parties that had haunted Andrew's name for years. Meanwhile, the palace's well-oiled PR machine scrambled behind the scenes, issuing polite no comments while reporters sharpened their headlines. For once, silence wasn't control, it was panic.
And the only times she traveled and went anywhere was with him. And guess who's on the other end with her Panama hat?
Behind those gilded palace doors, a question simmered, one that no one dared to ask out loud. Was Fergie unearthing a truth the firm had fought to bury, or was she settling an old royal score? And if it was revenge, this was only the beginning. Because long before the tiaras, the glossy magazine covers, and the Montecito mansions, Meghan Markle lived in a world ruled by ambition, a Hollywood that rewarded strategy, not sincerity. And Meghan understood that game better than most. Between bit parts in TV shows, charity appearances, and endless red carpets, she constructed her image piece by piece, always graceful, always composed. But behind that dazzling smile was a quiet, relentless hunger. A need to rise above the crowd, to never be forgotten, to never fade into the background like so many other hopefuls in Los Angeles. Those who knew her back then remember her well, magnetic, meticulous, and always in motion. She could walk into a room full of producers and somehow, by the end of the night, everyone knew her name. Meghan blended seamlessly with the city's elite, business magnates, celebrities, and even a few figures who moved in royal-adjacent circles, the kind who lingered in luxury and secrets alike.
Jeffrey Epstein was also Harvey Weinstein, very prominent. There were members. Meghan Markle was just one of the working girls for Soho House. Call girl, working girl, escort, whatever you want to call it. That's what she was.
That was the world she moved through, the polished, privileged gatherings that blurred the line between glamour and strategy. Among them were the famous yacht parties, lavish floating retreats where introductions were currency and reputations could be made or quietly destroyed. These weren't the sordid scenes the tabloids love to exaggerate, but they weren't innocent either. Every handshake carried weight. Every favor came with a price. Whispers suggest that in those early years, Meghan may have attended a few of these elite gatherings, chasing opportunity and visibility in a world that rewarded both. There's no solid proof, just fragments, hazy photos, unnamed sources, and fleeting sightings that resurface when the wind of gossip changes direction. But it was precisely this fog of half-truths that gave Fergie's words such force. By tying Meghan's supposed yacht days to Prince Andrew's shadowed social circles, Fergie didn't just share a rumor, she rewrote the narrative of Meghan's past in the public's mind. To the tabloids, it was irresistible. The Hollywood actress who climbed from red carpets to royal corridors, now possibly linked to one of the monarchy's most controversial names. True or not, it didn't matter. In the royal world, perception has always been more dangerous than proof. And if anyone knew that, it was Sarah Ferguson.
Prince Andrew, have you noticed how he completely avoids looking at Meghan Markle when she's around him or when she was around him?
To truly grasp the shock behind Fergie's words, you have to step inside the complicated shadow of Prince Andrew. A man once celebrated as a war hero and royal favorite, now reduced to a symbol of scandal and disgrace. For years, Andrew moved through life untouched, cushioned by privilege and protected by the power of his title. His world was one of private jets, Mediterranean yachts, and endless luxury, a royal life that blurred indulgence with entitlement. Those who orbited him spoke of a man addicted to status, fueled by attention and surrounded by people who never dared to say no. But that golden illusion shattered quickly. His notorious ties to powerful financiers and morally murky circles turned his name into a permanent stain on the monarchy's image. Then came the Epstein connection, the friendship that rewrote everything, and the now infamous television interview that left the palace humiliated and speechless. Each misstep widened the cracks, turning Andrew from royal asset to royal liability. So when Fergie's alleged remark surfaced, the timing was deadly. The world already saw Andrew as the monarchy's weakest link, the one they couldn't defend without losing themselves. By tying Meghan's name, however loosely, to his world, Fergie didn't just stir gossip, she set off a narrative explosion. It wasn't a jab, it was a quiet detonation. One that connected the Duchess's glossy public image to the darkest chapter in modern royal history.
And here we have Andrew, with whom looks like Marcus Anderson. This is in 2001, when Meghan Markle would have allegedly been on third year. Meghan Markle hardly spent any time at Northwestern University.
Mere suggestion that Meghan might have once brushed shoulders with Andrew's inner circle was all it took. In an instant, the tabloids had their headline, and the royal establishment had a full-blown crisis on its hands. For the firm, it was a nightmare. Two of the monarchy's most polarizing figures suddenly linked in one explosive narrative. While Prince Andrew hid quietly in the shadows of his own disgrace, Fergie's words gave that darkness new life, stretching its reach dangerously close to Meghan's carefully curated image. Because when Andrew's name enters the conversation, silence stops being protection, it becomes suspicion. Normally, when Sarah Ferguson speaks, the world listens with a mix of amusement and curiosity. But this time, her words struck like a lightning bolt through royal society. During what was meant to be an off-the-record chat at a discreet London square, Fergie reportedly leaned in, eyes sparkling with that infamous glint, and dropped a line that turned whispers into wildfire. Let's just say Meghan was Andrew's first client. Her tone was light, even playful, but the impact was anything but. The room froze. Those few words carried implications that could scorch reputations beyond repair. Within hours, the supposed remark had leaked. By morning, journalists were circling like hawks, dissecting every syllable, every possible meaning. Did Fergie mean client as a cheeky metaphor, a nod to Meghan's ambitious networking? Or was she hinting at something far more literal, something buried deep within Andrew's controversial past? No one knew for certain. And that uncertainty, that dangerous gray area, was exactly what made the story explode.
And I know what you're gonna say. Maybe it was just that one trip. No, there were quite a few trips. There's actually quite a lot of pictures about them. There are 2 pictures that leaked.
Fergie, of course, played it the only way she knows how, with a wink and a smile that reveals everything while saying nothing. She didn't confirm the statement, but she didn't deny it either. Instead, she slipped into that familiar rhythm of half-denial and effortless charm, brushing off questions with the practiced ease of a woman who survived every kind of scandal imaginable. Inside the palace, though, the mood was far from calm. Aides were furious, scrambling to control the narrative as communications teams rushed to distance senior royals from the growing firestorm. Once again, whispers spread that Fergie had gone off-script, leaving the firm to clean up the mess. But behind the outrage, there was an uncomfortable truth. Fergie knew exactly what she was doing. Her entire public life has been a balancing act, part confession, part chaos, always one headline away from redemption or ruin. This wasn't a careless slip, it was a deliberate spark. By aligning Meghan's name with Andrew's infamy, Fergie didn't just stir old gossip, she shifted the royal narrative itself. Suddenly, Meghan's silence seemed suspicious, Harry's frustration looked justified, and the world waited for a response that never came. And just as the media storm began to calm, a deeper question took hold. Why now? Because in royal circles, no revelation happens without reason. And Sarah Ferguson's words were no exception. To understand them, you have to look at her lifelong dance with the monarchy, a dance defined by exile, redemption, and endless reinvention. Fergie has never been a stranger to scandal. From the infamous toe-sucking photographs to her financial missteps and tearful apologies, she has lived every stage of public humiliation and survival. Each time the royal family pushed her out, she found a way back, smiling, gracious, but always strategic. So the question remains, why mention Meghan now? And what does she stand to gain from it this time?
It could be also happening that the royal family is saying, hey, if you put a book out about Meghan Markle and completely destroy everything and really tell the people how Meghan met Harry.
Some insiders whisper that it's revenge, subtle payback for years of being treated as an outsider by the same royal machine that later embraced Meghan with open arms. Others see something different, Fergie reclaiming her voice, reasserting herself in a story that has too often erased her. Then there are those who believe this is pure strategy, Fergie playing the media like a seasoned performer, stirring just enough chaos to remind the world she's still a force. After all, few people understand how to manipulate royal attention better than Sarah Ferguson. It's equally possible, some suggest, that she was acting out of loyalty, trying to shield Andrew by creating a new distraction, shifting headlines away from his scandal towards something or someone else. Whatever her motives, one truth remains, Fergie knows timing better than anyone. She has survived decades of disgrace, ridicule, and reinvention by mastering the delicate art of selective truth-telling, offering the press just enough to keep her relevant, never enough to disappear. But this might be her boldest gamble yet. With a single sentence, she redirected global attention, reopened royal wounds, and put herself squarely back into the headlines she once ruled. Whether it's strategy or desperation, one thing is undeniable, Fergie remains unmatched in her ability to create elegant chaos. The morning after her alleged remark exploded across front pages, Buckingham Palace went into quiet crisis mode. No statements, no briefings, just a wall of silence, colder and thicker than the gates themselves. But behind that calm facade, panic ruled. Advisors shuffled between emergency meetings, phones buzzed without pause, and senior courtiers whispered over how to contain a story that was already far beyond control. For a brief, breathless moment, every corner of the royal family found itself under the microscope, and no one wanted to be the first to make a move.
She'd been a Deal or No Deal girl. She was calling herself a model, and she was starring in a show Suits. She used to charge almost $30,000 per trip, which is why she was making good money. It wasn't on Suits, it was on her yachting trips.
Prince Harry, insiders say, was furious, yet conflicted. The rumor had humiliated him in front of the world, striking at the very heart of the image he and Meghan had fought so hard to protect. But he also knew that any angry reaction would only feed the frenzy. One wrong word could turn speculation into scandal. Meghan, meanwhile, withdrew from view. She cancelled appearances, sidestepped cameras, and let her silence speak louder than any statement. Behind the scenes, her team worked relentlessly, reviewing every legal option, monitoring headlines, and trying to gauge whether this was a passing storm or the start of something darker. Inside the Sussex circle, tension ran high. This wasn't just about a baseless accusation, it was about who had started it. Fergie wasn't a random tabloid critic or distant royal cousin. She was family, and betrayal from within the palace walls cuts deeper than any press attack ever could. Meanwhile, the senior royals kept their distance, publicly neutral, privately watchful. Courtiers scrambled to shift attention toward official duties, charity work, and state visits. Yet the story refused to fade. The words Andrew's first client clung to headlines like a shadow, a rumor that refused to burn out. No matter how carefully the palace tried to smother it, the smoke kept curling back under the door, a reminder that in the royal world, truth matters less than the stories people choose to believe.
Harry also knows Meghan was on Jeffrey Epstein's yacht with Prince Andrew.
Behind palace doors, resentment simmered. Some accused Fergie of outright betrayal. Others whispered she'd been set up, a pawn in someone else's game. But for once, everyone inside those marble halls shared the same feeling: fear. Fear that another scandal, this time wrapped around Meghan's name, could reopen the wounds left by Andrew's disgrace. The monarchy, after all, survives on control, and control was slipping fast. The one thing they could never manage was silence that spoke louder than words. And Meghan's silence? It did exactly that. By dawn, the royal machine was running on panic and protocol. Aides hurried through corridors with pale faces and folders stamped urgent, pretending calm while holding their breath. The firm's golden rule, never explain, never complain, suddenly felt paper-thin. Sarah Ferguson's casual remark had detonated across the media landscape, and once again, the royal family's reputation stood on unstable ground. Inside private offices, damage control became an operation of military precision. Drafts of no-comment statements piled high, while senior royals debated whether to publicly distance themselves or quietly ride out the storm. But this wasn't just about optics anymore. It was about trust. Trust between family members, between institutions, between bloodlines bound by duty and divided by secrets. And once that kind of trust is broken, even the crown can't mend it.
This woman knows that she's in trouble with Fergie because she knows where Meghan Markle's bodies are buried. She knows that Meghan Markle has been yachting. In fact, they had friction because Meghan had originally set her sights on Prince Andrew, but she lucked out with the idiot Harry. Not in a million years did Meghan think that she was going to score Prince Harry. She thought she was going to score Andrew until Fergie put a stop to it.
Fergie's words didn't come from an outsider. They came from within. From family. And that betrayal cut deeper than any tabloid ever could. For Prince Harry, insiders say, the blow was personal. He was torn. Should he confront Fergie face to face or let the lawyers do the talking? Meghan, meanwhile, vanished from sight. Her silence, heavy and deliberate, only fed the storm. Even inside the palace walls, the tension was unmistakable. Doors closed a little quicker. Voices dropped to whispers. Smiles were rehearsed, not felt. Because now, even one careless word could become tomorrow's front-page headline. The courtiers did what they always do: pivot, polish, and pretend. They tried to shift focus back to charity work and official duties. But the public wasn't fooled. This story had grown teeth. Every appearance, every handshake, every forced smile carried the ghost of Fergie's remark. Behind the perfectly staged photos, the royals were holding their breath, hoping the chaos would fade like the scandals before it. But this time, something felt different. The danger wasn't coming from outsiders or enemies, it was blooming from within their own bloodline. And as the dust begins to settle, if it ever truly does, one truth remains. This moment has changed the royal landscape forever. What started as an offhand whisper from Sarah Ferguson has now become a crisis of loyalty, image, and power that no crown can silence.
In my opinion, in my analysis, in my experience of decades, this kind of analysis, for me, is the real deal. If a photo such as this of Meghan Markle with Prince Andrew years ago surfaces, that will be quite a scandal.
Meghan's silence still looms like a storm cloud. Harry's trust feels shaken, and once again, the royal institution finds itself fighting ghosts it thought were buried for good. But perhaps that's the pattern of this family. Every time they try to control the narrative, another secret slips through the cracks. The question now isn't whether Fergie went too far, but what else she might be hiding. Because if this is what she's willing to say in public, imagine what's still being whispered behind those palace walls. And if you thought this story was shocking, wait until you see how deep the next one goes. In our previous video, Prince Andrew and Fergie left stunned after King Charles exposes this. We uncovered how the king's quiet move blindsided Andrew and sent royal loyalty spiraling. If you missed it, make sure to watch that next. It ties directly into this tangled web of secrets and survival. This is New Things, where truth still glimmers, even in the darkest royal shadows. Stay curious. Stay bold. And before you go, hit subscribe and ring the bell, because the next royal revelation is already on its way. And trust me, you don't want to miss what comes next.